Hey, what is going on, guys? Kaleidescape just announced their new player, the Strato M. In this video, we'll go over all the details regarding the new player, and we'll talk about, is it a good fit for you? Who's this designed for? And we'll cover the specs as well. So let's go ahead and head over to the website. We can take a look at everything here. So the first thing I want to kind of notice before we jump into that, on Obsessed Home Theater website, we are excited to announce that we are now authorized dealers for Perlisten. Perlisten's been an amazing brand. Probably over the past 4 years that I've known them. I flew out and checked out their headquarters, made some interviews with them over the past several years at CEDIA, and so love what they're about. And so we're excited to announce that. I'll make some future videos on that, but while we were here, I happened to see it, so I figured I'd go ahead and share that with you. So let's go back to, I think it's the second tab here, the new Strato M movie player. We're going to go into that page and we'll talk about it. So the first thing we notice here is the design. I really like the styling of this. The Strato M does have a really cool, very modern look. However, the blue LED light that you see in here, you cannot turn off. And I shared that with them. I'm like, man, that would be great if somebody had the option to either leave that on or turn it off. When it's not in use, kind of like when it's in the sleep mode, it'll go, that light will turn off. But I imagine when you're actually utilizing it and you're watching a movie, it's going to be lit up. At least that's my understanding of it. I could be wrong on that, but I'd love to see that feature being able to be toggled on and off. But right now it's not. But I do love the style of it. I think it looks super cool. Looking at the rear, very simple, not much to it. We've got our Ethernet port, HDMI port, USB, and then your power port right there. So let's go and talk about the specs, because really that's the big thing. I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit and make it easier for you guys to see. So the biggest thing with this Strato M, number one, is a price. So we're talking $19.95. This is an all-inclusive standalone player and server. So in the past, to get into the Kaleidescape ecosystem, for the most part, you had to buy a player, but then you also had to buy a massive server. So to get in that ecosystem, usually started about $10,000, which was really unattainable for most. Last year, Kaleidescape introduced the Strato V, which was really great because that brought the price point down to about $4,000. Not inexpensive by any means, but made it more approachable and more affordable to those of you that want to get into the Kaleidescape ecosystem, but just didn't have the funds to spend like 10 grand on a whole Kaleidescape system. So with the announcement of the Strato M, couple of key points on here. It is an all-in-one standalone player and server. So internally, you can see we've got 480 gigabytes of solid state storage. So what this means is you'll probably be able to get about 5 movies, 2-hour movies, 4K, stored on the server at one time. Now, of course, you can buy as many movies as you want, store those in the cloud in your library, and re-download those at any time. But at one time, you can only have roughly 5 movies on the server at once. So you're going to be limited there. The good thing is if you ever down the road wanted to add an 8 terabyte, 12 terabyte or higher, you can easily do that, add that. I've got a video on the channel on step-by-step how to add a TeraPrime server to the Strato V. Would work the same way with the Strato M. So that's the first thing. You're going to be limited to less storage capacity internally. The other thing, the big thing, is this right here. So this is promoted and shared as a reference 2K video, which is true. However, I just want to make a clarification. This is it outputs to 1080p. So 1080p is technically 2K. It falls under that category, but I want you to just realize this isn't a 1440p resolution. This is a 1080p output. So you may be thinking, all right, Michael, wait a minute. You're telling me Kaleidescape, but I've got 1080p. Who even does that? Okay, the reality is if you've got a dedicated theater room like I do, 150-inch screen, don't even consider the M. If you've got a nice TV in your living room, maybe it's a 77 inch, maybe it's an 83, 85, 100 inch, something like that, maybe even a 65, possibly, depends on how close you are. My recommendation, I wouldn't go with the Strato M. I would still recommend the Strato V over that. Where I see the Strato M kind of fitting into the marketplace, a good example of this is, let's say, all right, prime example, let's use my own home. So got a Strato V, actually I've got a Strato C in my theater room, and maybe I wanted to put one in the bedroom. You know, we don't have one now, but let's say we put a 55-inch TV in there, and at night, my wife and I, every once in a while, we just, before we go to bed, maybe we want to watch a TV show, we want to watch something, or even a part of a movie, or even a whole movie, but we don't necessarily need surround sound. We're not really worried about, really beautiful image. We just want something to kind of pass the time till we fall asleep, kind of thing. I could see not wanting to spend $4,000 for that bedroom setup. Another application, maybe you've got kids and you want to outfit their bedrooms with a Kaleidescape so they can have access to all your movie collection, easy to use, easy to navigate, and so forth. But again, my kids, they don't care about 4K. So that's where I could see it might make sense to spend a lot less for their bedroom setup than for my theater room or my living room setup. So that's kind of the main two areas that I see this being applicable. Again, I wouldn't really recommend this unless you just want to get into the Kaleidescape ecosystem, and this is just the only way that you can get into it, and you're okay with a 1080p output. It might be a good fit. But I think for the average person, somebody that's setting up a theater room or has a nice system in their living room, nice TV, I would pass. I would save up your money and I would go with a Strato V. So in a nutshell, I mean, that's a couple of probably other small things, but for the most part, again, you're getting the same exact audio that you do in the Strato V. So you got lossless audio there. The biggest thing is just half the storage, and then you've got a new chassis, LED lighting, and then you also have half of the resolution, or actually I think it'd be more than half the resolution at 1080p. I believe 4K is 4 times the resolution of 1080p. Now, again, resolution comes into play. The bigger the image you have, the higher the resolution you need. The closer you sit, the higher resolution you need. So if you're sitting 5 foot, even from a 65 inch, this may not do it for you. If you're sitting 20 feet or 14 foot or 18 foot from a 55 inch, this is going to be more than sufficient for you, because your eyes aren't going to be able to tell a difference at that distance anyway, and that size. So those are just some things to think about. I don't think this is this as exciting as the Strato V. To me, that was amazing. That allowed a lot more people to get into the Kaleidescape ecosystem. Much more affordable price point than previous years. But this is just another option. So we do have this on the website, so you can go pick it up if it's a good fit for you. ObsessedHomeTheater.com. You can add it to cart. We're probably not going to stock these, is my guess. We may have a couple that we'll order just to keep on hand, but I don't see us keeping a lot of these, because it's probably going to be pretty niche, the amount of people that actually need this. But like I said, we've got all the other items. We've got the Strato V, of course, the Strato M, TerraPrime server SSD. If you want that, that's a lot more price point. Sometimes not quite in our budgets there. But then we have also the regular TerraPrime servers as well. And honestly, while you're here, pick up some merch, man. I love our t-shirts. We worked really hard to design these. We got 3 different styles. We've got this minimalist right here on the right. Got this light gray, and this is my favorite gray. The dark gray is definitely my favorite, but they're all super, super soft. You can pick those up on the website. But just wanted to make a quick video about the Strato M. I'm just grateful that Kaleidescape is still looking to provide more approachable and more affordable. I say affordable loosely, because $2,000 is still a lot of money for a lot of us. So I don't want to say that loosely, like, oh, this is budget. No, it's not really budget. But Kaleidescape's never been a budget product. And that's one of the reasons why we carry it with Obsessed Home Theater, because there's nothing out there like it. Yes, you could rip your movies. Yes, you can put the time, the effort, the energy, building a NAS and all that stuff. I don't think that's really Kaleidescape's customer. Kaleidescape's customers, those of you that want simplicity, you want access to a massive library, you want a really cool UI. When you get into the Terra Prime servers, it unlocks that full UI. So you get this beautiful wall poster wall of all your movies. You've got access to the Kaleidescape store. You get access to movies early. And your download times, I think it takes me around 10 minutes to download a full 4K movie, 2 hours in length onto my Strato C, sometimes 12 minutes, and I can even do that from my phone, even while Jessica and I are at the grocery store. So if you're looking for that convenience, man, that's what Kaleidescape's all about. Making sure you always have the highest resolution, other than, the 1080p here, but like on the Strato V, you've got the highest resolution, you've got the highest bit rate as far as the audio, the lossless audio. And so you just get a great performing unit. So anyway, guys, just wanted to update you on that. I'll have a link down in the description below to the Strato M if you want to check that out on the website. Hope you guys have an incredible week. I'll have more videos on PerListen in the coming days, telling you more about some exciting stuff we've got going on with them. But have a great day. Love you guys. Appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Have a great week. God bless.